Broads Media.
I feel like I'm having deja vu, but what's actually happening is I'm spending every night in my life in this damn studio screaming about the same damn thing, which is this baseball team killing me. They're killing me. They lose again. They lose another series to the New York Mets. They fall 4-1. Aaron Nola sucked. Your offense sucked. Even though you out-hit them, whoop-de-damn-do. You only got one run across home plate, and that's because of Edmundo Sosa. I'm not breaking any news here, okay? So if you're the clubhouse, this better not be the first time you're aware of it. You're not going to win many baseball games when Edmundo Sosa is all of your production. Now, Bryce Harper got a couple hits, and Cody Clemens got a couple hits. You're not going to win if you're relying on the Cody Clemens of the world. We need Trey Turner. We need Kyle Schwarber. And June will tell you, statistically speaking, that Kyle Schwarber is a totally different player. Then you better show it to me tomorrow, because the calendar flips tomorrow. John Clark earlier today put out the numbers of what the Phillies did over the last 3 years in the month of May and what the Phillies have done over the last 3 years in the month of June. I need to see it, okay? There's no way in hell I'm just sitting back and relaxing and waiting for it to happen. I need to see it tomorrow. So the Phillies are 32-49 over the last 3 seasons in May. Only 3 clubs in all of baseball is worse. In the month of June, they have the 5th best record over the last 3 seasons at 31-20. Fine. If that's how it goes, fine. But that means they win tomorrow, right? And that really won't change my view on much. You lose the series, you lose the series. Now the Atlanta Braves 4-game set means nothing. Nothing. Who the hell cares if you split a 4-gamer if you follow that up with Drek? And since I'm already on my phone, let's throw a ton of rocks at JT Realmuto, too, because he's been in a huge rut, courtesy of Corey Seidman. In the last 2 weeks, he's been 3 for 35 with 11 strikeouts, only 1 extra base hit, no runs batted in. And 3 weeks prior to that, he was hitting .386. So that's a huge extreme. But I know it's been hideous for JT Realmuto until I actually saw the number with my eyeballs. 3 for 35, no RBI, 1 extra base hits. You don't stand a damn chance unless these guys get going. Trey Turner ends the 7th inning, 2 men on, grounds out. It won't work. This won't work. I'm even starting to get aggravated with Kyle Schwarber. And I've been on the patient train with him as just a solo guy. Dude, come on, man. We're talking 160? 160? I got to put up a fight when you're hitting 202, when you're hitting 200 on pace for 45 homers. That's hell. That's one of the big uphill battles I got to fight, which is ludicrous, but I do it because I'm aware of what that does for this team and what that does for this lineup, even with the low batting average. We're getting to not even justifiable stage soon. Soon, we're already there. I'm just saying I can't take it much longer, dude. So do it for me, do it for us, do it for the Schwarber crew that has to put up with fighting fans that feel it's unnecessary to have a guy like him with that type of power to be batting anywhere near the top. You can with 200 batting average, but this, you can't defend it a lick. I don't know what the approach at the plate is. On the flip side, I don't know why Aaron Nola is throwing cutters that don't cut. That's getting smoked. I think we need to make some sort of adjustment because I'm watching that pitch get crucified and I'm watching him struggle throwing it, putting guys on base for free. The Mets are scoring runs and adding to their lead when you give them a free pass. That's what good teams do, and I don't even know if the Mets are a good team. They look like it against you because you blow. But the Mets, they haven't been really good. They're playing about 500 ball. Their fans are just as upset as we are about this team, and we're getting our asses kicked. What the hell does that say about this clubhouse? And now we're dealing with an Alec Boehm injury. He's going to get an MRI, so we're waiting to hear news on where he's at. If Edmundo Sosa hits home runs, though, then I guess so be it. There you go, Phillies. There you go, Phillies offense. Come on, Nola. You piss me off. Giving up free passes to start the next half inning after you actually score first. So you think that there's something to be said about playing with the lead and feeling comfortable. Having some confidence. And then your number one guy in your pitching staff who got the ball on opening day put someone on base for free and then a cutter doesn't cut. And how come when mistakes are made by the Phils, all I see is the other team taking advantage? Well, that never happens with the Phillies in the batter's box, it feels. Whenever there's a couple guys on, hey, at least they got to second base tonight. Hey, we're taking huge steps, huge strides as an organization. They went past first base, and wait for it, they got on second base. Without trying to steal in the 8th inning after Ottavino walks JT Realmuto when you kill the inning. I'm not saying with the attempt to steal second base and fingertips actually touch second base. No, I'm saying they actually got on second base. And in this sport, what the objective is run around the bases, get past second base. I didn't know if the Phillies were aware of that. That's all. That's the only reason why I'm trying to explain that to you. I'm sure a lot of the listeners understand that before the ones that wear the uniform and go out there and take the field. I just want them to know that that's what you're trying to do, and that's the objective of the game. I just want to make sure that that's clear and they understand the point and the object of this game is to run around the bases and then touch the home plate. You'll get a run. You'll get a run. That's how this game is played. I just want them to know that in case they didn't know that, because at times it feels like they have no idea that that's the purpose. Just want to let them know. If any of them are tuning in, thank you. I appreciate it. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. It really helps if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of your podcasting platforms. We're not just a YouTube channel. We're everywhere. Nothing scarier than thinking about this face and this voice buzzing in your ear no matter where you are. No. This isn't just in your family room thing or on your tablet, on your phone as you're falling asleep, although I think it could be difficult to fall asleep with this, whatever you want to call this. You could take me on the go as well. A nice park walk to get some fresh air. Maybe you smoke some green on your way to whatever, your buddy's house to watch the game. Throw Protes on the little drive with you. I think you get the point. I hate this team. Is that fair? Am I allowed to say that? I'm so upset that they don't even look like they care that they're getting it handed to them. You're no-showing against your biggest rival. Right? Oh, but they might do something against the Nationals after. Oh! I don't even know if I can pencil that in. That's a ballsy statement. That's a ballsy prediction. They could probably lose to the Oakland A's. They could probably lose to the Kansas City Royals. They could probably lose to every team because they're at the bottom. They're one of the worst. Their run differential I was looking at so many different stats for this team because I hate them. So that makes a lot of sense. But that's what I do. I hate lookup stats. You know how people hate watch things? I hate lookup stats. And their run differential, when you go to the standings, and I wanted to look at the wild card because we were talking about this before the show today. They're minus 43. They're behind the Padres. They're behind the Reds. They're behind the Giants. They're behind the Pittsburgh Pirates. They're behind the Miami Marlins. They're behind the New York Mets. And they're behind the Arizona Diamondbacks in the wild card standings. And I actually think the Arizona Diamondbacks are real. They look like a team that is playing with a bunch of swag this year. I don't know what Pittsburgh is yet. I think San Diego is better than their record, which they have the same record as the Phillies. Maybe they're just not being able to put together. But here's the difference with a lot of these teams I'm mentioning. San Francisco, who's playing 500 ball, they got a +3 run differential. The Pirates have a +6 run differential. The Padres only have a -1 run differential. The Phillies are at -43, which compares to where the Colorado Rockies are. It compares to where the Chicago White Sox are. This is the level of teams we're talking about. The White Sox are 23-35, and the Rockies are 24-32. Okay? Now, the Oakland A's have a -195, which is historic. I mean, just historic. Think about how pathetic that is, though, where the Phillies are compared to the other teams that are in the wild card spots. +17 for Arizona. Does it matter how much talent I think they have? I'm starting to get to the point where that's irrelevant to me. Who cares? I don't care what I think anymore about their talent. We were trying to grab a pulse of how the Phillies fan base was taking this. And it's kind of split down the middle. There's a lot that feel it just as much as I feel it, and I can't stand watching them. But there is a group that says, well, you can't really judge until mid-July. And we were trying to find, with this specific caller, what date it would take you. If it's not now, which it's May 31st, any of June. He goes, no, not any of June. Any of July. Yeah, we're starting to get closer to it. Okay, what about July 14th? He goes, fair, fine. In that middle of July area, I'll start to feel like I can react on a more game-to-game basis because there's more knowledge on who they are at this point. I get it in theory, but I don't know how you can watch day by day and actually say that you're a real fan and feel the daily stuff and have zero emotions toward this because you're playing the long game. It just makes no sense. I don't get it. I don't know how much of a fan you could be if that's the case, because if you're into this, there's no way that you can embrace 4 months of this and say that it's going to be okay. Like, it's just a crazy way of watching baseball. I can't wrap my head around it. So they mentioned July 14th, and I said, well, let me get this straight. Let's say they play the same exact way as they're playing right now until July 14th. Imagine that. Ugh, that is pathetic. But let's say that happens in this universe. And then the 15th, 16th, 17th, they play a 3-game set after the date. Now, all of a sudden, you just flip a complete 180, and now you're pulling your hair out and your face is turning red, and you got bloodshot eyes because you're popping blood vessels because you bottled up all your hate for 3-4 months, and now you're exercising your demons, and it's all coming out at once. You know what I'm saying? How do you make that change? All of a sudden, July 15, 16, 17 matters, but July 12, 13, and 14 didn't. So now all of a sudden, here it all is. It's like you're just bottling yourself up, and you're being unfair to yourself. That's not the way I do it. I'm just daily. Did they suck today? I hate them. Did they win today? I still hate them until they win so much that I don't hate them anymore. Not everyone has to do it that way, though. To each their own. I don't have much more else to say. I don't. If this is what we get, how am I supposed to go 45 minutes an hour on that dreadful offensive game? Scored 1 run. And Nola gave up way too many free passes, gave up a home run, gave up the insurance runs. Let's put an S on that. so we get everything proper. So I'll make sure I get the facts right. So the insurance pours on. And you wonder how long this is going to go on for. Did you think you were turning the corner because you had a few starters do okay? Taijuan Walker's last effort was solid. Wheeler did well. Can we get through, not the 5th spot, because that's a mess, and they have no answers on that either. Dave Dombrowski is completely sitting on his hands, saying, I don't know what you want us to do. We don't have any internal ways to go. We don't have any places to look. This is where we're at. McGarry's numbers wasn't very strong in his last outing. Do you go back to Bailey Falter? You're not ready to go to Matt Strahm because he's pitching way too much. I didn't recognize how many innings he's pitched over the last 2 years or so, but where he's at right now and where he was last year and the year before, you're going to blow him out. He's not ready for this level of wear and tear. This year, he's already at 37 1/3 innings pitched. Last year, he pitched 44. The year before that, he pitched 6. The year before that, he pitched 20. The last time he threw anything over 100 was back in 2019. That's 4 seasons ago. He's already at 37 1/3. He threw 44 last year. So now all of a sudden he's going to be back. He's going to be back in the rotation and throwing his arm out. So I don't know if you could even do that. You already ran Bilotti into the ground. You're currently doing it with Connor Brogdon. And to a lesser degree, Matt Strahm. This isn't pretty. This isn't good. That's what I saw today. And now you don't know where Alec Boehm is. Physically. Crazy. All right, we'll take some calls. Let's do it.
Well, that was disappointing. The New York Mets just seem to have your number. I mean, that guy had, a 6.75 ERA. They scored 1 run off of him. Trey Turner looks awful. JT doesn't look much better. Nick Castellanos always swinging at the first pitch. Kyle Schwarber's hitting like 164. I mean, I know June's around the corner, but phew. Aaron Nola is absolutely cooked. The guy, every time he's given a lead, he coughs it right back up.
They all do. They all do. But Aaron Nola, that $200 million, you could flush it down the toilet. All right, you could wipe your ass with it and say goodbye because there's no way in hell after this season you're going to be worth anything close to that. Falling flat on his face. I got zero faith in him. I got zero faith in a lot of these starters. But, man, you got no shot with Nola pitching this way. Isn't it crazy how me saying they have no shot about 8 billion times already with 7 different parts of this team? Let's go through it. They're not good defensively. They don't run the bases very well. They're not intelligent. They don't hit consistent enough. Their starting pitching's very up and down. That's 5 things. Am I missing anything else? Their bullpen's okay. I don't have an issue with their bullpen. There's a couple blips, but that's every bullpen all the time. There's no bullpen that has 0 blown saves. This stuff happens. Brad Lidge, hey, how are you? But that doesn't grow on trees. So, okay, we got the bullpen. Who's happy? Anybody happy? He mentioned Nick Castellanos. I'm not mad at him at all. He's nowhere even close to being the problem, and he's been playing good baseball this year. Trey Turner, though, you got to figure it out, man. Enough is enough. I mentioned on a previous show the pressure of going to LA after the trade deadline to go try and win a title. How is that any less pressure? I'm a little confused because I hear Rob Thompson speak every day, and he seems to be a steady hand guy. Not super high during the good times, not super low during the bad times. And that's probably not a bad way to handle yourself and to manage a team when you play every single day. I don't want them to be as upset and as high when things are rolling as I am because that would put you in a bad spot. But with Rob Thompson, it sounds he does the Rob Thompson thing. and he wants it to be sort of like we're not pressing, we're not trying to do to it, we just got to keep grinding, we got to get through this, and stays even keel. And it looks like the players themselves are holding the bat super tight and trying to do too much with every swing and overthinking the baseball game and putting pressure on themselves to try and get in a scoring position. Now they're getting thrown out and after a 4-pitch walk, and that's one of the worst things I've ever seen. Manager one thing, team the other. If they were going down and they were all going down with this similar vibe, they're together in the funk. I'm hearing one thing from the manager. Lately, there's been more feistiness. Not anything crazy. I'm saying feistiness in regards to it not being as, well, it's early. We're starting to shift more and starting to see a little more anger, starting to see a little bit more frustration. It's definitely seeping through. But I'm still not where I would be if I was managing. Disconnect. To summarize, I get that sense. I also try and read into every little thing in the entire world, though, so I could be losing my mind. And when I watch piss-poor baseball every day, I bet you there's some brain cells that have been burned, unfortunately for me.
Hey, Broads, I love your show, brother. I was just listening to your YouTube cast of the Phillies losing last night, 2-0. Listen, part of this problem with this team right now is this sloth-like manager. I thought he was great for them last year. He's exactly what they needed. But come on, this is a $240 million payroll, and they're 4 games under 500 on May 31st. That's the manager. We see this all the time in sports. A team that underachieves, the first person to go is the coach or the manager or whoever.
You just did that last year, though. Rob Thompson's not in the position to be canned, and I just laid out to you that I don't know if everybody's on the same page right now, but I'm not firing Rob Thompson. I'm not saying he doesn't have a hand in this. When it's this bad, everyone has a role. Everyone needs to be looked at, and everyone needs to have the pointed finger at themselves. Rob does have a hand in this mess. I would try and kick in some more urgency, and that's another part of the disconnect. I would try and fire more urgency into this team, but Ricky Bo says this a lot, and he goes, I think he's doing it more behind the scenes than he does publicly. He's putting on a certain face to the public, but he believes that deep down in that clubhouse, Rob's chewing some guys out a lot more than he's making it out to be. Which is probably, once again, the right thing to do. But if he's doing it that way, well, he's lighting the lamp, or at least trying to spark the fire. If the guys aren't biting, this is the team. This is the guys on the roster. This is the guys who are in the batter's box. It's Kyle Schwarber. It's Trey Turner. It's the guys you pay the big bucks to. Rob can't hit for him. If just Trey Turner himself could be the normal Trey Turner, not even the best Trey Turner to ever exist, but just a good Trey Turner, I think a lot of these problems are fixed. Remember last year, we kept mentioning if Nick Castellanos was just a serviceable Nick Castellanos, the jump that they take. His struggles are weighing everybody down. Everybody feels it. Now, that's no excuse. It's more than just Trey. You can't let that impact you. The bottom of the lineup guys aren't having those problems. Cody Clemens is getting enough hits, and Mundo Sosa's giving you a little something. Defensively, I'm a bit surprised on how shaky he's been with his glove, because I do think he's an outstanding defender, but he's doing enough at the plate, and we're probably going to have to rely on him more with the Alec Bohm news. And once we get more on the MRI, I guess we'll kind of see how it goes. But that's 2 out of the last 3 games that he's been out of the lineup and not dressed. And you're getting an MRI, so there's something to it. Something's not right. Something doesn't feel good. I can't be screaming about the sloth as my main priority. My main priority are your big guns. When they hit, Rob doesn't look that bad. Rob's not pulling brutal bullpen decisions and all. Like, it doesn't fall to that right now. That's not where we're at. And yes, a manager, the team kind of plays a style based on the manager. Sure. And Rob does have a lackadaisical player approach. I agree with that. I don't think right now it's the way to do that. But once again, if I'm hearing from someone who clearly knows a lot and speaks to a lot of people that Rob might kick it into gear more, then he may be doing that. And if he is, and the guys aren't responding, it's not a Rob issue. This is way, way, way different than that. There's times when it's managerial issues. He's got a role in this. A decent role in this. Players got to execute better. And when that happens, the manager looks better. It's just that simple.
Well, Hunter, what do I got to say about this Phillies team? You can't pitch. Trey Turner has been an eyesore this season. We damn well miss Rhys Hoskins at first base. He was a good bat to our lineup. Bryson Stott's still playing decent baseball. Alec Boone has shown that he can still play decent baseball. Not knocking him down, but the veterans got to step up, and the pitching has to step up. Rob Thompson has to step up, or else he's not going to be around.
Okay. We got back-to-back kind of firing Rob Thompson stuff. That's how bad it is, I guess. I guess that's my takeaway is I didn't expect to have back-to-back bringing up Rob Thompson needs to go angled calls. Man, guess what? With this talent, if you need to go back-to-back firing the manager seasons, which isn't going to be the case, they're not going to fire him, but let's say that's what this team needed to get a kickstart, you got frauds in your clubhouse. Your team stinks. That would be horrendous. That's a problem. With that, we'll talk tomorrow. Afternoon game. Can't wait.